Welcome back to another episode of our Let's Play Crystal Isles series. So this episode is actually the other part of episode 7 that you saw where I tamed a seagull offline, and when I ended up getting sidetracked trying to tame seagulls, I was originally going to be building our taming raft once I got down to this beach. And in this episode, we'll show you guys what we were doing while we were waiting for these seagulls to tame up on the last episode. Now this episode will be a full Let's Build tutorial on how to make this taming raft, which will be incredibly helpful for the rest of our series. And we're going to be able to sail all over the Crystal Isles to pick up tames from really dangerous places, get them onto the raft, trapped, knock them out, and then take them back to our base while they're taming so we're not wasting any time. So if you want a step-by-step tutorial on how to build a taming raft, this is the video for you. And if you just want to watch the action on this series, I won't feel bad if you skip this episode, but this video should be really helpful and full of great building tips, especially for rafts. And as usual, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and make sure you subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for all notifications, because we will be live streaming soon with Jen, and if your notifications are enabled, you should be able to join us while we're live and chat with us and help us make decisions on what we're going to do on this epic adventure on the Crystal Isles. So let's get started. Alright, so before we start actually building our raft, we're going to have to take a lot of supplies down that obnoxiously long ladder all the way down to the beach. Now the reason we chose this spot is because it's very close to our base, but this beach is actually really shallow. So there's a bay here that goes out, way out there up to that point you can see, and it's actually just a few feet deep for a long ways. So this is a perfect place to park a raft because the whole Crystal Isles area in the White Shoals is totally infested with lead-sichthies, or those whales will just destroy your raft if you park it in deep enough water that they can reach it. But the bay itself is going to protect our raft, so anywhere we park under this archway will be totally safe from leads. Now we're going to drop the raft here, and it's actually very heavy to carry a whole raft, so we didn't have too much we could carry down here in this trip, but we also brought down a saddle for our brand new tech parasaur that we tamed in the last episode. Is this thing cool looking or what? Now this parasaur still needs a name, so drop a comment and let us know what you guys would like to name it. Now throughout this episode we're going to be going back and forth because this was actually what we were doing in between taming that seagull and parasaur on the last episode. So every time you saw us walk away, we were going back to this raft to continue building. So episodes 7 and 8 are basically one continuous episode. We just spliced it together so you could see all of the building at once and all of the seagulls at once. Now I already gathered all the supplies and built most of the structures we're going to be using for this raft, but I totally forgot I need a thatch foundation to start this build. And the reason I use thatch is because it has posts that stick down that make it really easy to line up perfectly. So I'm going to give you guys a step-by-step on how to build this taming raft, but the first step will be placing the first foundation, and we have to really carefully line that up, because if we don't get that first foundation in the right place, we run into issues where some of the walls won't snap to the back because they're too far away from the rudder, or you could have dinosaurs too close to the rudder on the front of the raft actually blocking you from steering. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong if you don't build it exactly in the same spot for that first foundation. But once we get the first real foundation set up, the rest is a breeze. So if you use the rudder to ride the raft, it helps you line up a little bit with the front, but as you can see I'm putting the middle of this foundation around the center of the mast, which really helps, and you can see the bottom posts are barely sticking out just a little bit from that little board that goes across. You want them just where they're barely sticking out, and both of them lined up about evenly to do that. And now we're going to start sinking the foundations into the raft so the whole raft will be armored and protected by foundations. So the first thing we did was put a wooden pillar in the middle of this thatch foundation, and then when we snap a foundation to the side, it snaps like 6 inches lower down. It's a weird little glitch. I mean, that's probably not a glitch, it's probably meant to do that, but it's a weird little feature of a wooden pillar. But we're actually going to use this trick to lower our foundations. So we're continually picking up the thatch foundation and then replacing it snapped to that wooden pillar. And every time time we do this, as you can see, it's sinking lower and lower onto the deck. Now, by the time we finish this process, it's going to be completely sandwiching the actual raft. So normally, if we didn't do this, the raft would take damage from anything attacking it, and just any dinosaur could destroy the foundation, which destroys your entire base. But what we're going to do is once we finish this process, there will be foundations sticking through the top and bottom of the entire raft, and that will make it so that the whole raft is protected and they have to destroy the foundations themselves before they actually can hurt the raft, which is really nice. And once we replace this with stone, it'll be invincible to everything except alpha predators, which will be really helpful. So, and also, of course, whales, lead sichthies, can destroy the raft even with the foundations on it. But as you can see here, we finally have this lined up where the next foundation would sink it into the raft. So now we're going to start placing the wooden foundations snapped to that thatch foundation. And we just picked up the thatch because we don't want to waste materials. So there we go. We have our wooden foundations completely sandwiching the raft. But there's one more little tricky thing we have to do. So we're putting the wooden pillar in here, and we're going to step the rudder section one more lower. And it's really tricky. You've got to try a couple times before it actually snaps properly. But as you can see here, the rudder section is one step lower than the rest of it. Oh, I hate it when it does this. So it's trying to snap to the rudder instead of snapping to the other one that's higher. So we want all the foundations, oh, so annoying. We want all of the foundations to be the same level, except the one on the rudder has to be one step lower. Otherwise, the foundation actually blocks the rudder and you can't drive the raft, which is a problem. So if you use the Q and E keys while you're placing a foundation, it'll cycle between different snap points, and a lot of times it helps to just move around and change your perspective when you're actually looking at it too. And raft snap points are really tricky because the raft is constantly moving. We're going to try it from the other side and see if this helps a little bit. I've noticed sometimes when you have more foundations snap to the higher level, it's a little bit more likely to snap to the higher level instead of lower. There we go, okay. So that one actually worked. Let's try this one more time. Okay, perfect. So now the whole raft is protected by wooden foundations, but we can still drive the raft too, which is also really important. And in the options, we can hide the sail, and now we're good to go. So we'll go check on that seagull and be right back. And we're back, and we actually saw a nice little green loot drop that dropped right next to us, and it had some pretty nice items. We actually got a blood syringe and a parachute, which are pretty cool. So now we're going to start adding some walls, and the first most important thing is the wall right in front of the rudder needs to be an actual full wall, because for some reason the door frames don't always completely block damage to the rudder, and that can actually cause your raft to take damage for some reason. And of course this one's going to be tricky too. So let's try this over here. Now the snap points are always real difficult, but it looks like that one's working okay. I'm going to try not to be too OCD about this, and alright, let's see here. See if I can get this to snap properly. I might see if I can kill that parasaur, because he looks like a pretty easy target and he doesn't have very much places to run. And we are going to need a lot of hide because we're actually getting pretty close to being able to ride our pteranodons, and we'll be needing a lot of hide for that saddle. Okay, cool. So there we go. We've got our entire taming pen section roped off, and I use door frames for the walls because even though they take a little bit more damage, like they have less health, they are way cheaper with the materials. So we can save a lot of extra materials by not using full walls for those. If you want stronger wooden structures, you can definitely make them full walls, but that's just my preference for now. I'm actually kind of skimping on this raft. I usually make a much bigger, much more impressive raft, but because the whale problem is so bad, I don't want to risk losing too much if this whole raft gets sunk by a whale on our way to tame something. That definitely could happen. So we put a couple ramps on that side. You can actually extend this to make the taming pen even bigger if you want to have an easier time getting dinos in there. But for now, I think those double ramps will work. We'll come back and add a couple more ramps going lower into the water in case something, comes into the water, because those are just barely touching the water. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the ceilings up first because those can be real tricky when you're snapping them to the walls, but that should actually work pretty well. So check it out. We've got a pretty nice start to our raft. We have a full-size taming pen, and we'll check on our seagull and be right back. All right, so we just got back from checking on our seagull, and check it out. We now have a brand new seagull to add to our team, and she's going to help us get prime meat from dodos and lystrosaurs, and prime fish meat from killing just easy coelacanths. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to make it really quick and easy for us to tame any carnivores, and if we put a preserving bin on this raft, we'll be able to keep that from spoiling. So I want to actually add a base section to the back of this raft, but I need to extend the foundations further than this actual raft platform. It won't let me do that unless I use this little trick, which I'll show you here. It's quite nice. So as you can see here, the foundations won't snap off of this platform. But if we put a ceiling there, it'll actually snap to the bottom of the ceiling. And when we pick up the ceiling, the foundation stays. And you can do this and extend it out pretty darn far, actually. But once again, we're actually... Did you guys hear that? It sounded like something attacked me. That was super weird. Okay, so we can keep picking up the thatch foundations, placing a wooden foundation underneath them, and that will make it so we can extend this really far. I think that seagull attacked me while I was talking. That was so weird. Okay, anyway, here we go. So we're going to add one more of these foundations here, and that'll give us a pretty good size back of the raft, which we can enclose, and we'll use that for taming stuff. So oh man, I actually snapped the wooden foundations to the lower foundation. So I'll come back and fix that because my OCD will not allow that. So I like to have the back foundations at the normal level, just a little bit higher, and that just makes the whole raft look a little better. We'll keep that one foundation on the rudder to be the only one that's sunken down there. So we'll be back after we fix that. But this raft is coming along pretty well already. Okay, we're back with some more supplies, and we should have enough to finish most of the walls. Yeah, you know, that parasaur, oh, hey, check it out. It actually laid an egg on the beach. That's cool. Definitely helpful. Now, you always got to be real careful picking up eggs because they can definitely be real dangerous because everything of that species will come and try to kill you if you pick up an egg. But I just want to shoot down this parasaur now that I'm not having to use a bola because this crossbow should make it pretty easy to kill. And I'm pretty sure I'm hearing that actually do damage to this guy, but it's not showing up on the numbers. And man, he keeps dodging every time I'm about to fire a shot. This is why I normally use a bola before I even try to kill a parasaur. But, you know, good practice. Had to get a little target practice in. There we go. And if you run over it, you can actually pick up the stone arrows that are on it, which is really helpful. So, and that was definitely way more arrows on that thing than I heard actually hit. But hey, a lot of easy hide. Oh, and check it out. We have another green loot drop. So we've been finding a lot of good loot drops out in this little bay, which is another reason it's great to have that ladder there, because we can actually see the pillars of light from our base, and if we see one that we can pick up, we can just run over here and grab this loot drop and get a really easy thing. Is that turtle racing me? Back off, turtle. I'm going to win this. Yeah. Oh, hey, that's actually going to be extremely helpful because I'm going to build the raft with some of that stuff. So you can... Oh, whoa, whoa. Watch it, turtle. Is he trying to kill me? Whoa. Okay, don't come over here. Don't. Just back off. I can't really tell if he's actually trying to kill me or not. Turtles are not supposed to be aggressive, but this one is really freaking me out. Where did he even go? This turtle is nuts. Oh, there he is. Okay. You know, it would actually be helpful for me to kill that guy later, so we'll come back to it. But here we go. Okay, let's just kill him. Yeah. So turtles actually drop keratin because they have that shell, and we're going to need a lot of keratin and chitin to build our pteranodon saddles, and we're getting really close to being able to actually use those. But now that I have a crossbow, I can shoot this guy underwater, and I can definitely outswim him underwater if I can actually get this arrow to hit. and I can't tell if he's coming after me or not. But wow, this is really well, okay. Do you see that? So I'm definitely have hit him quite a few times. He's got arrows sticking out of his head, but none of the damage was registering, and that actually happens sometimes on some of the new maps. It's kind of crazy. Just a little glitch with the crossbow. But we should be able to take this guy down without too much trouble, because the crossbow does so much more damage than the old bow used to do. So he should be going down. He's definitely pretty bloody here. There we go. Great. I was just about out of water there. Okay, cool. So we should get some good keratin using the hatchet here. And all right, not bad. 12 keratin. So, now that we have some good supplies towards getting our pteranodons flying, which will be amazing, we'll go back to building this raft a little bit. We just needed a little quick kill break. So, let me see if I can pick up this thatch. I was just curious about that. A little snack break, too. And let's see here. I've got the raft parked relatively far out there, but I'm going to use the ramps to get up that. Now, another important thing I want to add is I want to put a ramp to the back of it so I can easily hop off the raft while I'm getting something to chase me up into the taming pen. And that way I can actually get back onto the raft. So, rookie mistake for raft building, if you don't put a ramp on the back of it, it's actually impossible to get onto the raft from the water. So definitely make sure you put a ramp on the back. And we're going to put the back door over here because I actually want to make it so normally when I make a raft, I put the ramp on the very back middle because it looks so much better. It's nice and symmetric, right? But if something's chasing you from the back, sometimes it gets stuck on the raft and you end up carrying it along with you. So it can be a real problem. And one time when I tried to tame a beaver on my Valguero live series, I ended up with like 5 beavers chasing me, and one of them got stuck on the back of the ramp, and it just followed me everywhere I went. I couldn't get rid of it, and it ate most of my house by the time I got it off, so it was pretty bad. Alright, cool, check it out. So we have our nice little entrance from the back, and I used a hatch frame here because I want to be able to climb up onto the roof to attack stuff from the actual inside of our little raft base. And I'm going to use solid walls on the front side because that's the most likely place to get attacked. They'll have a little bit more health there. And we'll use doors on the very back so we can exit from the sides too. So this should be a pretty functional little method. We should be able to run in from the side if we need to. And let's pick this up because it's not quite lining up properly. Now, rafts can be really, really tricky as far as getting things to line up, and if you're pretty OCD, you might have some cracks in your foundations or little gaps between things, so it can be a real problem. Like right there, that's going to drive me crazy, but I'm going to just try to live with it. Okay, cool. So we got 2 back doors, 2 side doors, and then a door on the top. That's going to be really handy. And that way we can really quickly access any sides of the raft while we're taming stuff. Okay, that's not quite perfect, but I'm going to resist the OCD and not redo that wall. And we'll repark this raft and grab some more supplies. And we're back. It's amazing I can move after climbing that ladder. And oh, check it out. Our parasaur laid an egg. Isn't that thing cool looking? I love tech dino eggs. They just look so awesome. All right, well, that's really helpful. So our tech parasaur is going to lay tech eggs, which are the same as regular eggs in every way, but they just look way cooler. Alright, so let's go ahead and finish up this base portion in the back, and we're actually almost done with this taming raft, so I can't believe we finished this so quickly. And we weren't wasting any time because we were taming up that seagull at the same time. So I like to have a couple of storage boxes on my rafts, and I'm going to put these right here so we can use this little door as a supply drop. So we'll put the storage boxes on both sides. They're really big and cumbersome, and I want to put them where they're not going to get in the way too much. But if I put them right next to that door, we'll be able to park the raft up on the seashore and open up the door and put supplies directly into the storage boxes from outside, which will be really helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and put a door down, and hey, level up. Very nice. Alright, let's see. We'll place the door and just make sure we can still use it with these storage boxes. And then that'll actually be a really helpful, quick way to get supplies into the raft. So I'm putting the storage boxes down before I put the ceilings, because even though we don't have official rules on this server, if you're playing official, the storage boxes actually cannot be placed if the ceiling is on because they're too tall. But if you place the storage box, then the ceiling, it totally lets you place it for some reason. So that's a little trick if you're needing to do something like that. Alright, I was hoping I could still walk through the door, but, we'll fix that later. This is going to work just fine, and we're not mostly going to use that door for entering the raft anyway. So here we go. Alright, so we got 2 storage boxes, which should be enough, and we can still use the back door, which is the most important. We'll actually expand this base later and make it a much better base if it survives long enough and we find out it's worth the trouble. So, alright, cool. The storage bin is just short enough to fit in here. And I'm trying to place it where it's not going to block the doors. Now, this preserving bin, is going to be incredibly helpful because it will keep all of our prime meat and prime fish meat from spoiling while we're out, and we can stock up on piles of prime meat, take it for like a 40-minute expedition, and it'll still be viable when we actually tame something. So if we get a carnivore in the raft, we can just keep feeding it prime meat whenever it's hungry, and that gets you around the spoiling problem. And when you do that, you can tame it way more effectively and way faster. So that's close enough to the wall to make me happy. We'll just go with that. And we'll go ahead and put some doors on the back here. I'm leaving no doors on any of the door frames for the taming pen because they're basically only functioning as walls. But we could eventually, wall that off with doors if we want to protect dinos in that taming pen area. So there's a lot we can do. I'll try to drop a link in the description for a raft build that I did on the Switch series where there was not as big of a whale problem. We built an absolutely huge base on our Switch series, but this one's going to be pretty basic and simple just because we may lose it to whales on this map. So another quick tip, it's always best to place the hatch frame door before you put a ladder down because you never know where that's actually going to snap, which side it's going to snap to, and if it snaps to the wrong side, your ladder is totally useless and you can't use it at all. So it's always good to put the door on first, that way you don't lose the ladder. Now, this is looking really weird, right? We're putting double door frames, the wide door frames, on the side as high as we can because I'm making a sniping platform and I can't quite reach the top. I think I'm going to need to get on the roof to do this. But by putting it this high up, we should actually be able to sit on that little hatch frame up there, climb the ladder to get to it, and then we can shoot down on dinos. And we should even be able to be out of reach of like allosaurs and things like that. A T-Rex might be able to reach us up there, but it's probably going to be our best bet for staying alive while we're shooting down whatever's in that raft. Because if you get something big, it can actually reach you from that far away. And I was going to use my parasaur as a ladder, and then I remembered I can just jump from the ramp. So there you go. Alright, so we need this ladder to snap down on one of the sides, preferably on the left side here, because if we go straight down that way, it's going to run right into this little hatch frame and make it impossible for us to climb. So we'll go ahead and pick that back up and put it on the other side. Now, with ladders, they can get in the way of a raft. I'm always worried about making sure I can see to actually drive the raft because the camera, while you're driving a raft, kind of sits in the back above it. So if you put stuff in the wrong place, you can actually make it impossible to see while you're driving. So I'm actually putting this kind of off to the side so it won't block the camera no matter how tall it is. Now, snapping ladders is always such a challenge. They're really tricky. But, oh, wait, do we have it? I think we have it. Yes, there we go. Okay. Let's see if I can climb this from here. Of course, this hatch frame is all in my face. All right. We'll have to be careful not to jump all the way off, so we'll have to stop pushing forward once we get up here, but this is going to be really nice. We can have a clear shot at pretty much the entire taming pen from here, and should be really effective, so perfect. All right. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And it's not really going to get in the way either, so we can go ahead and put the rest of the ceiling on there. And I think I'll put one more ladder down just because it's a little difficult to target that while it's that high up. This should make it real easy to climb. And ladders don't really block anything, you can just walk right through them, so I don't really mind having them in the middle of the base there. Alright, perfect. Well, that's going to be very effective. I also wanted to jump straight down and see how much damage I took in case I need to run away really fast to do some, either chase down a dinosaur or run from a dinosaur. So there we go. So let's grab some more supplies here, and we've got a bed, and we're definitely going to want that in here. In some place it's not going to take any damage. So let's see if we can squeeze this in somewhere it's kind of out of the way. But having a bed is really important on taming expeditions, because if we die, we can respawn right back in the raft and then go right back to work. So that's going to be very helpful. And actually, this should be pretty out of the way, so I think I'll just put the bed right here and be done with it. There we go. So I think we've got this just about together. We just need to add a couple ceilings here, and this taming raft is just about finished. Alright, we're back. I had to run back up to the main base to grab some more supplies for those last ceilings, and here we go. So these will be the last ceilings we need to place, and then I'm also going to get a cooking fire and a mortar and pestle so we can make food on the go, and we can actually make more tranks while we're there too. So that should be pretty... Yeah, that's totally what I meant. Okay. So I tell you what, these snap points are rough on a raft, especially when it does stuff like this. Like, what are you even trying to do there? So that's fun. All right, come on. Okay, that's gonna drive me crazy. There's like a big gap between the ceilings. I know wood is a little bit more, there's a lot more holes in wood than there is stone, but oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. Okay, just gonna deal with it. This raft is a utilitarian raft. It's not about fanciness, but oh gosh, that's gonna be so ugly. All right, we'll try this one more time. My OCD is just really taking over here. All right, come on, you can do it. I don't think it's gonna do it. All right, we'll try one more time, but if this doesn't work, we're just gonna have to deal with that big hole in the ceiling of the raft. I guess it's better to have the gap in the ceiling there than to have it on the back, because, something might be able to bite through a gap in the back, but, yeah, we'll just deal with that. Okay. It's not perfect, but it's going to be very useful, and that should be able to do some awesome stuff. So check it out. We've got a very nice taming raft together, and I'm going to add just a little more space on this sniping platform so we can more comfortably move around here. And that should actually be enough space to park a pteranodon and keep it pretty well out of harm's way. So sometimes the most effective tool for taming stuff is having a flyer to get it to chase you. So now we'll just place our mortar and pestle and camping fire, and we should be just about good to go. Now the campfire is really annoying because if you place it in the wrong spot, it blocks you from walking around, and it can be a real pain. But the mortar and pestle, you can just walk right over it, and it won't cause you any trouble. So, alright, let's see here. Where can I put this where it's going to be something you can walk around? Actually, that should probably be okay. Yeah, that's nice. And that way, if it's cold, we can turn on the campfire and it'll keep us warm while we're driving the raft too, so that should work out pretty nicely. Well, guys, we have our raft built. I know this took a little bit of time, but it's going to be totally worth it because this will save us so much trouble and so many times we would normally be dying from other dinos, so we should be in great shape to go on a taming expedition really soon. Alright, we're back, and I almost forgot to add the doors, so here we go. We don't want any dinos we're trying to tame to be able to bite through and hit us inside this raft. So now that we've got these doors in place, the raft is almost totally complete. Last thing we need is just a wooden ramp to extend these we have right here. And we're here with the last finishing touch for our Taming Raft, and that is 2 more wooden ramps. And from up here on this super tall ladder, we can get a pretty good view of this raft we've been building. And it's a really nice taming raft, as long as the whales don't sink it too quickly. This is going to make our lives so much easier, and we'll show you this thing in action really soon, probably in a couple of episodes, because we also want to build a house really soon too. So we're going to add these ramps, but in order to do that, we need to repark the raft so it's a little bit deeper in the water, because the ramps will clip right into the ground as it is right now. But if we pull into deeper water, that'll let us snap those wooden ramps in, no problem. This is also helpful if you're putting foundations and they won't snap properly because you're in shallow water. Just park it a little deeper and it'll let you do it. So we'll have to go for a little swim, and it's tough to build while swimming, but we're definitely going to be able to pull this off. So I hope this episode was helpful for you guys. I know it wasn't as much action as we usually like to have on this series, but hopefully a lot of you learned some really good building techniques for building a raft base, and as long as you can avoid whales, it is a pretty amazing and overpowered little thing you can do, and we'll show you that really soon. We'll show you an actual tame with this raft, and this is going to let us be pirates and sail all over the Crystal Isles map. You can sail just about anywhere on a raft as long as the whales don't eat you. So we'll be going and doing a lot of exploring really soon, and I think we'll try to tame either a raptor or a doedicurus, or unless we find something else really interesting on the way. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to this channel and ring the bell to enable all notifications, because Jen will be back really soon and we will be live streaming again, and we would love for you guys to talk to us and chat with us while we're streaming, and we'll be doing some much more interesting things really soon. So this is just about the end of our building stuff, and we will be back really soon with some really fun adventures on the Crystal Isles map. So until next time, stay safe, have fun, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this video.
If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media so your friends can enjoy it too.
And make sure you subscribe to this channel and ring the bell to enable all notifications, because we have lots of awesome new guides, tips, tricks, live streams, and Let's Plays for Ark and other awesome games coming soon, and you won't want to miss any of that.
We already have lots more fun and helpful videos just like this one, so check out the links at the end of this video to keep watching. You can also chat with other gamers if you join our channel's Discord at the link in the description.
If you want to earn great rewards while supporting this channel, click the join link next to the subscribe button for more information about our channel memberships. We want to give a big thank you to some of our biggest supporters of this channel: Sabo0283, Cole Parmenter, Emmy Fisher, Wolfgirl Be Like, Kelly Razjak, and Ashley Owens. Thank you all so much for everything you do to make this channel possible.
So until next time, we hope you have fun on your own video game adventures, and we will see you in our next video.